Prepare yourself for hydras, dwarves, gods, and penguins. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I'm going to be playing Cards and Castles Ultimate. This is the sponsored video where I'm going to be showing off the newest iteration of Cards and Castles. Some of you may have seen my Cards and Castles 2 video, and this is the sequel to that game, featuring new cards, new mechanics, a new grid size, and if you've never seen this game before, I think you're going to like it. As you may have guessed from the name of the game, you are playing cards to attack your opponent's castle, and of course, defend your own. This is both a card game and a tactics game. You spend gold, that's your resource in this game, in order to attack not just the castles your opponent has or the units that they have, but also environmental features of each map. On your turn, you can spend your gold, you can play units, and units can actually move on the same turn that they come out. You have to play them in the rows of your castle, but then you can move them, and unless they have charge, they're not going to be able to attack, but you can still put them into position. So I've put my war cow into play to get ready to start attacking, because my opponent here, they went second. They don't have as many resources, though they do have the Vault of Bravery. Pretty sweet if you're going second. And I'm hoping to start dealing damage before they do. So I noticed that the map that we're on, it's, I believe, random which map you spawn into, has these frost geysers. There's different environmental features on each map. And this one is whoever deals the last point of damage to a frost geyser will freeze all of the enemies that are standing around it. And there's 3 of these. They don't respawn once they've been destroyed. And what has been played here? A Bone Drake. So Bone Drake's a 1/1. It's a flyer, so it has a larger movement range. And if it deals damage, it will be giving an enemy unit -1/-1, which, notably, right now, I just got my cow here. I could either attack their base, or sorry, I can't attack their base because of the Guardian. It's in one of these Guardian squares. You're going to see these light shields. I can either attack the Vault, one of these Frosts, or the Bone Dragon. So, you know what? I'll hit the Bone Dragon. And that, unfortunately, did kill my cow. I probably should have played this Varsky Marauder first, because doing that would have given me something if the cow happened to die. Yeah, I can activate your brutality, but I don't need to. Vaskheim Marauder, I think I'm saying that right enough. It's got Chain Lightning, which means that its attacks will actually jump across different targets. And if I attack my opponent's units, they will hit back. So hitting this Grave Knight would deal 4 back to me, and I wouldn't even be killing it. So I'm going to start with a Chaotic Storm, and it gets to summon a unit here. So I will start with this. Nice. Brought that down to 2, destroyed some graves, and now I have a Kunai Master because it generated a random creature. Dealt 1 damage to 2 random enemies. If you have no other units, strike 4 instead. I do have other units. I will move this guy over here and attack this and move you forward. I could have also attacked the Frost Geyser to trigger Chain Lightning to hit this guy without actually hitting him. But I'd rather try to set up for this to trade into this. Well, this Zombies deck really wants to have a lot of Graves. Nice. Yeah, Graves are what happens when your creatures die. Or sometimes if you discard them, they'll also become, well, corpses in play. Now, there's ways to return these back to your hand. There's ways to consume the Graves. But for the most part, you're just chilling on having a couple dead guys in play. You can also attack Graves in case you're, like, worried about your opponent using them for spells, which this Undead deck absolutely could. I have cast some Frost and Lightning, but not enough. I think I would rather play this Kargrom Fire Lash. So I'll do that right now, consuming my gravestones. See, using my graves. And then, if I can get this to hit their castle, it will deal so much damage. I'm going to use that Chain Lightning I talked about before to attack the Frost Geyser to hit all these units in a chain. So every single one of the enemy units that's adjacent is taking 1 damage because this has Chain 1. Move this guy forward since he's big and beefy. Look at this Grave Tender. What do you do? Oh, graveyards can hold even more units. Interesting. Normally it's just that back line, but now they get an extra set of gravestones here. I would like to clear this out. So I will move this here, attack the Frostfire to kill this dog, go here, and then use my big demon to attack the castle, which deals 5 to all their other dudes. I have the Dragon's Fire, I have the Yarvam Giant. Yeah, move you forward too. That's what you fake. The undead. Oh no, -1/-1. That killed one of my guys. Marked damage, you may have noticed, does stay on units in this game. But it's not that, like, scary, since there's so many ways to heal your own units. In fact, you can buff units. There are things that specifically say heal. And if you don't need to heal, why bother? You can just go and take out your opponent. That was just a practice match against a bot, but there's other ways to play this game. If you're just starting out with Cards and Castles Ultimate, I'll recommend you start in the campaign. The campaign is a story mode where you unlock these different decks that represent the different factions as you go through a story depicting these factions working together to recover some stolen goods. Because yes, there is a pirates faction, and they are, as you would expect, doing crime. You can even play their cards and they do crime. It's really fun, says the person who loves doing crime in card games. But unlike the regular versus mode of this game, some of these quests are not just destroy your opponent's castle. Some of them are destroy a specific unit, protect a specific unit, deal some number of damage. There's different goals in the different parts of the campaign. And I'm not going to play any of it here because I think it's better if you get to experience it for yourself. The first 10 or so battles in the campaign are really just teaching you the basics, teaching you the mechanics, showing you how to move your units around. And then as it goes further, it becomes more of a puzzle. How do I beat these levels? And how do I upgrade these decks in order to do it more efficiently, more powerfully? And like most card games, you can upgrade and build your own decks. This is a game where you will be unlocking cards by doing your daily quests. You can either buy cards or use resources. You can cash in old cards to get new ones. And you can also get wild cards so you can craft cards of a specific rarity. Then you can go to the deck screen and you can either edit a deck by going into it and, say, taking out war cows to add in more things on theme, or you can build a brand new deck by just clicking Create New. Getting to build a deck in this game is pretty fun because you get to choose 2 different factions like pirates and ninjas, warlocks and druids, the undead, crusaders, and Vikings. There's also neutral cards that you can play in any deck, many of which are actually the just strongest cards because they can do whatever you need them to do. Some of my favorite things to do in this is build around life gain or build around ramp. There's ways to make it so you're generating more gold each turn. And there's also super strong legendaries, some of which you get in the basic decks. So like if you look at this one here, you have cards like Thor, God of Thunder. This is a very sweet card because it will double up any of your lightning spells. There's also some maps in the campaign that have environmental bonuses that like buff your lightning spells or make surge costs less or make it so certain like unit types like trees are stronger. And you should definitely pay attention to that when you're building for the campaign. I really liked this starter deck because not only are the gods really strong, but there's also cool synergy in these decks. There's a lot of exploration you can do when you're deck building in this game. I feel like the devs really understand the joy of doing kind of combo effects. So I'm going to give an example here. Ice Walker Giant in this deck. Ice Walker Giant, whenever he deals damage, it summons a Vaskerheim Penguin. Those are the little 1/2 penguins. They're very cute. They have a fish that they hold as a sword. Now, how do you get this to deal more damage so you get more penguins? Well, you give it Chain Lightning. Lightning Blade or Storm Strike will give a card Chain Lightning. So if it hits one thing to deal damage, it'll hit all the connected things, which will get you a lot of penguins. I think my record for one hit was 6 different penguins. Yeah, so the board was just suddenly tons of penguins. Then you can buff all of those penguins that you created, or you can just keep going wide with more Chain Lightning effects. This is just one of the many starter decks, but they start you with all of these different ones, and you can also unlock some various packs for free from the card track. There's a paid version of it. This is, by the way, the beta build, so things may change between what I see here and what you see when you are playing the official build release. But on top here, you're getting packs just by playing, And this game, when it comes out, I'm sure is going to have all sorts of cool decks that people are experimenting with. I don't want to go too deep into deck building, but I was trying out a Dinosaurs and Dragons deck because I like dinosaurs and I like dragons. I was trying a life gain deck, and of course, I was just having fun updating decks in the campaign. But I want to do one more battle before the end of the video with a different deck. This is the Shining Sea starter deck. It is yellow and green. That's the Crusaders and Pirates, and they come together to help you get more gold using cards like Treasure Hoarder, and of course get a couple treasures too with Merchant's Estate. This helps you draw lots of cards, and you'll also be slaying your opponent's creatures with Death Strikers. Death Strikers are going to kill in a single hit, which means that your opponent's biggest threats become much less significant. You can also wipe out the board with cards like Judgment Day, while you set up to overload your opponents with cards like Pegacorn that are difficult to deal with and help defend you. And once you've held off for long enough, your opponent will have a bunch of curses in their deck from cards like the Deep Sea Jellyfish and the Assassin we saw before, so you can take out their castle with Giant Beaters. That's right, it's a 7-cost 10/10, it's a fish, it has no other text, and it does not need other text. So again, just like before, I'm going to try to attack their castle with my cards. Cards and Castles Ultimate. All right, I have something that costs 2 here. This feels like a pretty good card. Gets you treasure when things die. This has charge, so it can attack right away. I think I'll go for keeping these 2 2-cost things because I do get an extra treasure. I can use the Vault of Bravery to get 1 more gold. So I will loot my vault here. I could also go for this Treasure Hoarder, though, instead. Nah, I want to go for the Salazar Spitefish, and I'll move it forward, planning on attacking some of these trees. The Sakura trees, if you destroy it with an attack, reduce the cost of 2 random cards in your hand by 1. Ooh, Northwood Wolf. So Northwood Wolves, I'm actually going to go for attacking this instead, because this wolf, well, the more of them they have, the scarier they get. And there's a bunch of different cards that can create this unit. So instead of waiting until it gets bigger and I have more stuff to deal with, I'm just going to do that. This has Death Strike, which is, for Magic players out there, Death Touch. You're going to notice, by the way, a lot of, I'll call it familiar mechanics. If you are used to playing digital card games, this game will come very easily to you, because there are a lot of things that are in this game that are also in other games, whether it's things that negate the next hit of damage they take, things that prevent targeting. That's like your Shroud right there. There's a whole lot of different things you can do. So I kind of want to force them to have to attack my Skeletal Assassin, but I can also just use it to kill their guy. Nice. Everybody gets to die. And I shuffled some cursed cards into their deck. Merchant's Estate, that will generate some treasure. This is just something that they'll have to attack before they attack my castle. And whenever I play a card that costs 5 or more, I will draw a card. So I have this treasure here. I'm actually going to spend it on my Treasure Hoarder because it's essentially refunding it. Oh my god, look at him. He's so cute. Yeah, you can wait on your treasures and use them kind of whenever in the game. So I have 1 extra gold this turn. It's not quite a treasure. It doesn't sit around for multiple turns. But that means I can cast something that costs 5, like Pegacorn, which will trigger this and draw me a card. So I'll do that. Pegacorn it is! Unleash the corn! I drew a jellyfish. I'll attack this tree. What is this tree? Whenever a friendly target is healed, summon a battle squirrel. Battle squirrels throw nuts at flying units. They're very cute. There's a lot of really cute things. So this had a shield on it. It is gone now. It has been hit. Owlbear, Rampage and Deflect. Rampage is if it kills something when it's attacking, it gets to attack again, which can just burn through all of your things. What do I feel like doing here? How about... I don't have any sea monsters to take damage here. How about I destroy this tree and see what gets discounted in my hand? Ah, darn. I was hoping it would discount the jellyfish so I could play that. Mr. Treasure Man, I'm actually going to move you back. I don't want you taking any damage. Shield Runner, I could stun this Owlbear. I think I'd rather just get some Death Strikers out. Ooh, Surge of 6. If I get to 8, I'm able to do that. I'm going to play this Bloodthirsty Shark. And the Skeletal Assassin. And I will play the Shield Runner just because I have the stuff for it. But even though it has charge, I'm just putting it back here. I have a feeling, yep, they're going to take out the Pegacorn. Oof. And then going for the Shark. I still have the Skeletal Assassin, though, who can take out this Forest Giant, who looks, dare I say, familiar? Perhaps from a... maybe inspired by a certain giant of real life. All right, I now have 7 gold, so I can jelly, and I can put so many curses in my opponent's deck. Yes, I absolutely want to do that. I'm killing the big boy. I'm bringing out the jelly. And I gotta start moving this guy forward. I'll move you here. Perfect. So the deep sea jellyfish, my turn ended. They're getting cursed. And they drew a curse. They drew a curse. Oh, yes. That even summoned a skeleton for me. There's a couple different types of curses you got to see there. Oh, I love the way that, like, these units move and attack. They're really cute animations. I feel like some games, like when you're just playing with the static cards, it's just not as cool. So now I can do the surge cost of the murder fish. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of murder fish. And because of the surge cost being higher, this actually also drew me a card. Let's move up the murder fish. More curses in their deck. And they're playing a free war cow. Nice cow. And that's all the druids had. So we're going to finish off their castle with the big old jellyfish. I mentioned before you can do crime in this game. And I mean it. You can, and it's really fun. There is a fox that can steal. There's cards like Black Market that discount your stolen cards. It's really fun that my favorite mechanic for card games is in this card game. But like each faction, you can pair them together, and they do really have different archetypes and fun things to explore and different synergies to explore. There's also multicolored cards. So let's say you want a blue-yellow card. I believe I should be able to see them if I scroll down here. Yep, Valkyrie and Strength of Will. If you want to see a white-black card, that's Druids and the Undead. Scroll down to the bottom here. You have Mushroom Man and Field of Screams. And you can play these cards in a deck of either color. Each deck is 30 cards. You can have up to 2 copies of any card. And the legendaries, you can only have 1 copy of the legend out at a time. But you can still have 2 copies in your deck, which is great because it means that you can be more consistent and draw those super powerful cards more often. Overall, I would say that Cards and Castles Ultimate, at least in the beta version that I got to play, is really fun. And I'm very happy that they chose to sponsor my channel to make this video, so I got to play this before it came out. Yes, I consider that a great privilege because I had a lot of fun getting to play in the campaign, and I think you guys will too. So you should be sure to check it out. There's going to be a link in the description that's down below, or you can look it up on Steam, but I imagine that if you click my link, they'll at least know I sent you, so they can, you know, be like, hey, Amy's telling people to go try our game. Yeah, maybe I am, because I think that it's fun. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have fun with your penguins.